Hello everyone and welcome to this latest video discussion as part of the RICS Tech Partner Programme. My name is Andrew Knight and I've been with RICS for over 12 years now. I work within the knowledge and practice area of the organisation, and my role is to look at the impact of data and technology right across the built and natural environment. And with over 110,000 members working worldwide right across the property life cycle, from land through planning and development, construction, valuation, brokerage, finance, building and asset management, building surveying, property management, really huge canvas upon which data and tech is having a very profound effect. And indeed, our members work across all the main asset types of land, residential, commercial, alternative assets and infrastructure. So once again, a huge canvas upon which data and technology is having a very positive effect. And I'm really glad to have Tudor join me from RedT today. So Tudor, thanks for coming on the call.
Thank you for inviting me. Such a pleasure to talk with you all the time.
Indeed, and it's always interesting to before we get into the kind of bits and bytes and the tech side, it'd be great to have a bit of your backstory in the sector, and indeed the origin story of creating RedT.
Yeah, so basically I'm a telecom engineer. I went 2011 to India to open a startup of facility management, and it turned out a success. Today the company, it's 11,000 people, and when I left in 2021, the company size was close to 9,000 employees. So to manage such a large workforce on a big portfolio, I had close to 7 million square meters of property, diverse asset class in operation. I needed to adopt technology. Was absolutely no other way for me to operate without technology. And that I learned from 2016. I started slowly with a lot of trial and error, burning a lot of money, trying a lot of proptech existent on the market, trying a lot of solutions, seeing what is also giving a good return on investment to us. Because of course you have a lot of Maximos and CMMS of the world, but for small companies, or I won't say small company, for a small industry like facility management, especially in a country like India where it's a price-sensitive market, then you must have a look on the budgets. So then I learned slowly how to navigate and how to digitize the real estate, how to operate real estate in the most effective and efficient way. Then I decided, Corona changed lives for many of us. And I reflected myself. I said, okay, how long can I stay without following my passion? As I said, and coming from telecom side, coding side, I end up in real estate operation. I said, why not to give it a go, because I learned a lot in this experience. And in December 2011, RedT was on the map, which means real estate digital transformation. So that's a bit of story of RedT.
Indeed. And how would you summarize, Tudor, the kind of problems you're solving? Because technology is never an end in itself, it's a means to an end. So what are those key pain points, those key issues that you're solving with your solution?
So mostly we are, I'm looking first of all in operation efficiency. Now, definitely the second line item, which all we are looking, it's ESG integration. We have a lot of, especially the E part of the ESG is generating by operation efficiency of real estate portfolio. So then all the ESG data are addressed. And you are looking also in technology adoption, because most of the companies, doesn't matter the size, so medium and all that talking now, they have a certain technology adopted. But when you want to infuse new tools, new items, like we are talking today about AI wave, it's a bit of disruption. So that that type of integration is required. And in the end of the day, it's the change management, because the new approach, if you look on the market, real estate is one of the oldest business in the world. All the brick and mortar type of approach of the business was and it's continued to be. And then it's very tough to go to a guy who made billions of dollars on the traditional way to tell him, like, look, technology will make you another $10 million. And we look at you and say, what? So change of mindset, basically. That's what I'm addressing.
And Tudor, what kind of what kind of clients are you delivering this service to? And I'm thinking in terms of the kind of clients, but also the different markets around the world, because obviously there are very different dynamics often in different parts of the world as we come out of the pandemic and deal with the economic backdrop. So what kind of clients are you working with?
So I'm working with various type of, I have all the 4 clients in the market. So I have the building owners, can be investment funds or can be the literally building the developers. Then I have operations, company, GLL, Cushman of the world, can be any local type of company you are operating. Facility management businesses. I'm helping also tenants, the guys who are operating who are using the assets. And lately I started to work aggressively with proptech companies, because proptech companies, in majority of the cases, they are some tech guys who they understood the workflow from the real estate and they start to code to solve a certain problem. But understanding the holistic approach and understanding the market very well, lately, and especially in the last 6 months, a lot of proptech approached us to position their proposition much better in the market. So those are the clients: real estate operator, owners, users, investors, and now proptech companies lately, very surprisingly.
And have you ended up in any way focusing on particular asset types, or is it a broad set of assets that you're working with depending on the client?
It's depending on the client. So for instance, we have a bank now, quite a large East European bank, which we started to transform their digital transformation roadmap. They have their own real estate portfolio, and the bank, I didn't know, honestly, I didn't know after 10 years of expertise in this industry that they have their own setup, they have their own investments, they have and plus they have a lot of need from their lenders. So it's a big ask to go and understand how well is maintained their real estate portfolio, to know how to position the money in their assets. So the banks, they have the legacy system, they have old system. It's a lot about data protection, data security, and I was surprised to see this line of work.
And how would you, I mean, when you're talking to clients and when you see how they're using your solution, what are the kind of values that they're getting from using this kind of approach? What, there's obviously efficiency savings, but what sort of value are you seeing that the clients gain from using your approach?
So let's take it very specific then. I start from operation and facility management companies. So either they can increase, because most of the facility management companies, they are tied with the KPI and SLAs on their contracts, and the cost is mostly fixed. Now, what want the facility management company to do? To make more revenue, one way, but you have an inflow which is fixed. You cannot change based on the contract. So what I'm giving to facility management company, either I optimize their operation cost instead of increasing their margin, either using the same operation cost, I'm increasing their SLA delivery. This is one approach. For an owner of the building, his intent is basically to maximize his revenue from rents, from collecting rents. So in that case, I have a very nice and funny example when we could predict, based on utility, so data utility measures, that one of his tenants, his utility, how you call it, amount came down, and we highlighted their leasing team. Said, go and talk with them. It's something unusual. Suddenly, it's a drop in utility, and they said, please keep it confidential. Basically, we are moving in the new office. They still had 6 months of rent. They started reducing operations. So for that asset manager, what happened? They start to look on the market 6 months before was the termination clause, only by having a simple dashboard where it shows in your face the trends. So that helped a lot from that perspective. Now, when you're looking to a tenant, we had a project. It's a company working in service office space, something like it's not like WeWork type. It's more managed and service office space, where the same, we are trying to increase the user, to make them more user friendly, try to bring the people from home back to the office. And now I know it's a very broad affirmation, but we help them, giving them tools, making their life easier, from knowing if they have a parking place when they approach the office available, a lot of booking, so a lot of mobility between the home office and the real office. So in that direction, I'm telling you, it depends on the clients, and we have couple of clients which they are using in their ESG reporting, because now it's a hot topic, this ESG worldwide, and we're talking real estate. It's generating 40% of the carbon emissions in the world today. But the big problem which is happening, most of the ESG reporting are the data is self-declared. It's not a mechanism of value and checking in ESG, but that reports go on signature on the CEO of the company. And if the data is not valid, which is happening in most of the cases, the CEO starts to answer for his team. So we start to bring data validity. We have recently for another bank a project now where all the E type of data, we are collecting direct with smart meters and validate it through a platform. So in that moment, we eliminate the, like I say, fraud. It's even the mistake, let's say, unwilling mistake, or the white greenwashing of the reports. So I tell you, it's different for the client. We address different type of needs depending on their request.
Indeed. And what kind of what technology are you using? What's under the bonnet, as we say in the English language? What's underneath the dashboards? What sort of technology are you using to tie all these data sets together and produce all these insights and manage the processes in the way you've described?
So we, first of all, from the dashboard point of view, because let's start from what you see and what you don't see. From the dashboard point of view, I'm very flexible. I'm aligning with the technology used by my client. So if the client is in Microsoft, mostly you are staying in a dashboard in Power BI, because already they have the licenses, cost, and so on and so forth. If the client is in Google, I'm going in Data Studio from user interface. If we have a couple of clients which they require a built-in dashboard, like I can show you an ESG dashboard which we built recently. We are just going in coding in Tableau, or we are just taking some open sources, because I'm using as a technology backbone, as you asked me, a company called so two companies basically, but the biggest one is SLK Technologies, which is based in US and India. They have it's a huge organization with 6,000 people, which they are more than happy to back me from that perspective. And collaboration came due to the fact that they have banking and insurance capabilities, and I was bringing real estate side in the business. They were not having that, so we merged together. And the second one, it's the company which also I started, the 630 Labs, a company from Bangalore, which they build a lot of proptech softwares for real estate industry, and not only. So from engineering perspective, I'm adopting and I'm addressing the needs of the client, because like you said, you asked me also from the storage data and data collection, we are adapting the technology workflow based on the and based on this discovery process which we are conducting prior to the digital transformation project.
So as you say, you're effectively having to discover the infrastructure, the systems a new client has, and use the appropriate tools to really build effectively, I guess, a data lake, and then put the kind of the business intelligence dashboards on the top, Tudor.
Yes, of course, and we have, like, for last year we have a discovery for one of our clients, which was almost 3 months, was mostly online, and we needed another 1.5 months only to create the digital transformation roadmap, and implementation time will be 2 years of the process. It's a large organization in 7 countries. It's a lengthy process, but we tailor-made on the client needs the digital approach. So we are much, it's not a solution fits all, because in the end of the day, how I compare a building, I comparing like a car. Very simple. If you have a car, like you, Andrew, if you have a car, if you know you are selling the car in 1 year, you have a different approach toward the maintenance of the car, style of driving of the car, cleaning the car, and so on and so forth. If you are a taxi driver and if you have a car, you have a different look at the car, how you maintain it, because maybe you want to spend more money because that car becomes revenue for you. So in that moment, when you have a different asset class of portfolio, that's what I was doing in my previous experience. I was tailor-making my approach to, or my fleet of cars in different way. It depends on the tenant, because also on taxi, if you are in Romania running on €0.50 per kilometer, or if you are a black cab in UK, you have a different approach from the operational expenses in one place or the other, because at the end of the day you want to look at the return on investment and the revenue. So that's why it's not a solution fits all, and I want to move a little bit from that direction, and that's why I have a very intense, and I have another 2 colleagues in the company, which they have 25 years and 18 years of experience in operating real estate, and we want to put our brain and know-how into a software. That's into a nutshell what we do. We code our workflows, way of taking decision into a dashboard and the software.
And what are the barriers you find, both I guess technical and also perhaps attitude and behaviors from potential clients? What are the barriers to this, as you said, quite a long process sometimes in terms of discovery and implementation on a large portfolio?
So barriers, one is kind of okay, of course there are many. Let me try. Now it's a good question. Let me try to address it somehow structured. Okay, I think practical, I think is the best way. So when we go and approach clients, I can tell you it's very easy for us to open a door, because we have and we don't have competitors in the market. No, it's not really a company positioned on real estate digital transformation per se. There are few of them, but they have a different value proposition because they are trying to sell products. We are more positioned as an integrator. We try to solve someone's problem. We are not trying to sell our pill that creates a disease for you in that perspective. And of course, it's a resistance of change due to the fact that we are addressing the operations. We are addressing direct the way how they operate. And when you find a person who is in the last 5 years of his career, I can see that it's no go in that direction, because he won't be able to let go whatever made his career for the last 40-50 years. But in the moment, like in fact half an hour before this webinar, someone called me from he heard one of my speeches like 5 years ago. I showed a couple of dashboards into a facility management forum. Now he moved from Dubai back to Europe to run a large asset management company, and he's like a 40 years old guy, 35 years old guy. He wants to disrupt the operation. He's the head of operation, implementing a lot of digitalization. So it depends a lot of the customer age, I will say, and how, because that gives also the courage. I will say the courage, because you need to have the courage to make changes in organizations. But now, just to make an analogy, I was talking with someone very fast. I don't know if you remember, Andrew, I'll say 10, 15 years back when email, no, maybe more, 20 years back when email started to be more popular, when all the executives, they were asking their assistants to print the emails to read them. You remember? So that's, for me, today, the companies who are not starting to adopt AI. It's not so visual, but in the moment I go into organizations who are still working in Excels to create their reports and dashboards and working in PowerPoints for having presentations, and they are in competitive markets. I'm not talking the companies who are in marketing, media, stuff like that. They are moving competitive markets, and you are making your financials, your reporting, everything on Excel. For me, that's what's happening. The guys who are printing, they are printing their own emails.
Indeed, and there's obviously a lot there about sort of behavior and attitude. Are there any particular technical barriers, challenges around data and connectivity that stand out for you?
Oh yes, because that's coming from device to device, data to data, analog to analog, budgets. For instance, now I give an example, simple, smart meters. Everyone talks about smart meters. They are available. They are coming cost. Let's take an electrical meter. Yes, you can buy an electrical meter from less than 100 euro, and you can take it to 3,000 to 4,000 euro. Depends on how big is the connection line. But now the problem comes. Why you need, for most of the buildings, I'm talking most of the buildings, even if for your house, do you need a smart meter? When you need to have the reading? It's about once a month. You want to understand the consumption. Now, it's worth it for once a month to have reliable data, real-time data, to cross-check an electricity bill and to report an ESG platform. Operationally speaking, I don't see a return on investment on it. But the problem when someone goes and reads the meter manually, then either the mistake can happen. Yeah. Anyone can make a mistake, and especially when you read a lot of meters. Then we came with a solution. We said, okay, let's address it different. You geotag, because while you geotag, you give to someone a phone. Then it's automatically linked to a geotag, and you know that person, that technician really goes to that office in that particular time and takes the photo, opens the app, takes a photography, and using the OCR, which is optical character recognition, automatically takes the reading. Also, you can see the barcode of the meter, and you have mostly an NFC tag or a barcode reader on it. So we address that problem very cheap into a simple app with no adoption. Everyone can carry it in the pocket for old buildings and old facilities. Because now definitely, whatever you install now, you install the smart meter. Makes no way to go into an analogical or old type of meter. But that's how we address a very complicated problem in a simplest way, having a very good OCR powerful engine behind. 5 years back, it was very expensive to do that with an OCR, but now it's like nothing.
That's a good example, Tudor, isn't it, of the challenge around so many buildings that aren't particularly smart. They haven't necessarily got that technology installed, and it may be, as you say, cost prohibitive on a large estate, a large portfolio. I mean, talking more about this whole ESG issue, and I know you've mentioned it before. How do you see that increasing the demand for kind of ESG data above and beyond what you're already doing?
I think ESG has time being, because it's not regulated. I'm not sure how. So just to give a bit of background, there are more than 200 standards of ESG today in the world. Plus and minus, there are a lot. So basically, that standard are self-made by a couple of people, which they call it organization lately, which you have the biggest one. One of them is GRI. And those standards are, you have a certain type of weightage, and they are published on the market. In that moment, any organization can go and approach a standard to self-declare their ESG ratings. Now, all good and well, but till date, it's not a single. European Union, I think, they start to work on it because the data is not valid. You declare your own consumption. Me as a company, I submit. So how these are working? How the standards are working? They once a year or once a quarter, they receive the data from the organization, which is not validated, not checked. Whatever they self-declare, and based on that, you receive a scoring. Let me put it differently. You are going to the doctor and you give your own blood report measures. You write it, and you give to the doctor, these are my blood reports. And based on that blood report, someone makes you a prescription. Now it looks stupid, no? But that's definitely what's happening today in ESG. When regulation will come from the government, that I think a lot of standards will fall down, because I'm not saying it's greenwashing, but it's a lot of miscommunication and data validity problems in these standards. And what I foresee when the regulation will come will be a big shake in the market, and we'll really see what's happening in the world today.
So, well, what does the future hold for RedT, Tudor? What's in your pipeline in terms of areas you're going to address, the kind of clients you might be working with, the kind of sectors that you're going to focus on, and regions?
So, as I see, we move aggressively. We work a lot in Asia, and it's normally to work in Asia because also if you look from the real estate portfolio, the biggest, so it's more portfolio in Asia today, so it's more demand. We have a couple of projects in Europe which are going quite fine. And from our future, we see a lot of collaboration now increasingly with proptech companies, because in the end of the day, that's how we position ourselves. We position as an expert partner between the proptech and the real estate world. So we come in the middle just to help the beneficiary choosing the correct proptech and correct integration of solutions to supply their needs. So we'll stay on operation. I see a big ask from us, and which definitely that the work which we are doing in operation impacts, as I told you, the ESG, because we help them provide more accurate, more correct ESG data, and where our help is asked on ESG, we are going and give it the help. But I'm telling you why. I told you before why I'm staying a little bit behind the ESG, because I see corrupt data, and it's a lot of corrupt data in ESG reports, which I want to stay away of. I think will harm us on the long term. So that's why.
I understand. No, I think it's a very important final point you've made there about effectively integrating all these different proptech solutions, because I think there is a danger that we end up with a tech stack with lots of different applications that have been installed that aren't talking to each other, that aren't giving really that single pane of glass, that single view through a dashboard. And I think that's one of the perhaps the downsides of the explosion in proptech, is there are so many solutions out there that aren't necessarily being integrated into a simple, easy to use dashboard.
I can also, if you allow me, can I share the screen?
Yeah, surely.
So for instance, this is the ESG type of dashboard which we are building for one of the customers, where you have here the sustainability index. These are the trends, whatever you see with green, yellow. Okay. So if you want to see only the trends which are reaching, they are going on the correct line items. Here you see month to date, end of the month prediction points. Here you can see which trends are not helping you to achieve your targets in the end of your commitment. And what I want, for instance, on this dashboard, I take from BMS this data, from IoT, from smart meters, from CMMS type of platforms. Here I have operations which I can take from occupancy, attendance, which are taken from meters from the IT park. This is attendance of facility management staff. You can see the KPI, the uptime, tenant index, and I can have also, I understand the financial payable, expected, receivable, and budgets. So I have many many kinds of this type of dashboards created. So that's our main focus. Instead of integrating all the technologies on the same platform, we prefer to integrate the meaningful data into a single place and then to put algorithms on top of data. It's much faster, much reliable, and I can tell you from operations perspective of real estate, it's much easier to, as the buildings are changing the dynamic, it's much easier to have the flexibility to change the dashboard interface than integration of couple of softwares. So that's where we play. We are not trying to reinvent the world. We are not trying to shake the operation by adding the third or fourth type of solution or platform. We are just integrating the data for what is legacy. We inject technology where the return on investment makes sense for them, and then we present everything in dashboards. So that's our game.
Indeed. Well, it's been a fascinating conversation, Tudor. Hugely insightful to understand how you're working with these various prop tech firms, how you, as you say, you're effectively putting this very powerful dashboard layer on top of all these data feeds. But for today, thanks ever so much for your time, and I look forward to catching up again with you in the future.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Pleasure.